Okay, then the cart's heading off onto the track. We've had a slight delay due to a really heavy downpour of rain, which came in just as the drivers had got to the grid with their slick tyres. And it came from nowhere, and it came in very quickly, and it's already stopped raining. However, there might be some more rain to come in this race because there's some dark clouds over in the distance. So they're on wet tyres. Certainly everybody in the top 10 on wet tyres, although the rain stopped and it's damp rather than wet. So this delayed DD2 race, it's just going to be a 15-lap distance. The grid shapes up like this. From Spain, Oriol Dalmo Caballero, number 628 on pole position. From Finland, we have number 630, Ville Valainen, alongside him. On road 2 should be Gerard Sebrian Arisa, but number 621 has only just got off the line. So he's got to catch them all up now on this formation lap, but he should be starting third after a mega move around the outside of two drivers on the last lap of the pre-finals to go from 5th to 3rd. He's one to watch, I'm sure, if he can catch them all up and get to the start on time. Konstantin Scholl from Austria, 611. He's going to be on the outside of row 2. On row 3, Giannis Slavinsky, 658, and Kevin Ludi, 609. On row number 4, Martin Pierce, the Masters driver, the leading Masters driver so far, and Ivan Martinez. On row 5, Christoph Adams, another Masters driver, and Slawomir Muransky, likewise. Cristobal Garcia has been the best Masters driver, the fastest Masters driver most times this weekend, but fell back in the middle of the pre-final. So watch for 625 coming through. And then there was a gap, wasn't there, 12th on the grid. So Raul Lavinabascal, number 631, I think he's not there. And then the 7th row of the grid, we should have Ed Brand, 14th. Watch for him storming through in this race. And I think there might be a gap where Manu Bejarano should have been as well, 629. Like 12th and 14th were absent from the grid. 8th row of the grid, Imke Arts from Holland and Sam Smelt from Great Britain. Row 9, Andreas Laskaratas from Greece and Jules Kazan from France. Row 10, Christian Davis from Spain, Maxim Shaposhnikov from Russia. And alone on the 11th row of the grid, I'm not sure how he's all the way down there because he's been really quick this weekend. Philipp Seewer, the Swiss driver, been very quick, very impressive, and just has not had things go for him. So dead last on the grid, but really quick enough, I would have thought, to be up there in the top 6 on merit. Meanwhile, Matt, the driver who should be third on the grid, is just about going to catch them up in time. So the pack is heading up towards turn 7, and the driver who was slow off the line, Gerard Sebrian Arisa, you can see him on picture now. He'll just shoot into your shot in a minute to get himself back up onto that 2nd row of the grid, and he'll just about do it in time, I think.
Yep, he's done a good job to get there. He had to push round, of course, on those 2 laps in very wet conditions now that are greeted with us here at Spain. Haven't been caught out like that for a long time, but it was definitely blustery and definitely wet down there. But let's see how these DD2 competitors find themselves in terms of the run down towards turn 1. It's going to be one to watch out for, and maybe a few just taking it very easily compared to a few that may storm around the outside or look for a move down the inside. But we'll see how they all cope and how they get on as the field does the last bit of weaving just to get the warmth into these tyres. Oriol Dalmu Caballero on that pole position. A storming weekend he's had. A pole position, the Spaniard. Can he get a Spanish winner to the top of the podium? Ville Valainen, another man who's gone well, the Finn alongside on that front row. 15 laps of racing are about to get underway then as they bring themselves to the start. Are we going to get a start? Yes, we are by the looks of it. Down towards turn number 1, and what a jump from the outside of the front row. Ville Valainen just goes for it, no hesitation whatsoever, and Ville now finds himself straight away at the head of the field. Kevin Ludi, the Rainmeister, tried to go around the outside there. He's going to be into 4th position by the looks of it, but they are slipping, they are sliding as you'd expect. They've got to be very careful through the chicane now. They're all going to make it through. Yes, they do, nice and safely, which is good to see. Watch out for Ed Brand as well, another man who goes normally very well in the wet conditions. So kart 688 on track, should find himself hopefully at the end of this first lap inside the top 10. But a great start round the outside into that first corner. Ville Valainen has a massive lead, around about 10 or 12 karts over everybody else, and moves straight away for 2nd place because there down the inside goes Konstantin Scholl in kart 611. He now moves ahead of the Spaniard who clips the curb on the inside line. Oriol Dalmu Caballero is now under attack from Kevin Ludi, who goes for a move as well. So Oriol is not the man who likes the wet conditions, is he? He's dropping down like a stone now. He tries to fight back on Kevin Ludi down towards the penultimate corner, but Kevin sticks to ground, finds himself still in 3rd place. And the next man on the attack here is going to be possibly kart 699. Not too sure, but we'll try and work out who it is this time. But first lap led by that man there, Ville Valainen.
So good start for Kevin Ludi, and he's up to 3rd place already. Not such a good start, as you say, for the pole sitter. Adamo Caballero, and he's got fellow Spaniard now, number 621, Gerard Sebrena-Arisa, right behind him as they go through turns 1 and 2. No change of position just yet. To give him a little nudge from just behind him is Giannis Slavinsky, and Giannis now has another look up the inside on the way into turn 3, but the gap closes and he has to be patient. How did Ed Brand get on his first lap? He got 4 places. He's gone up to 9th, so Ed Brand makes progress. Moransky, who hasn't been at the head of the field at all this weekend in terms of the Masters drivers, is the best Master. He's in 7th place. So Moransky going well. Martin Pearce is second in the Masters in 8th place. A very, very wide line for Kevin Ludi as he went through turn 3. Something they might need to think about as the race wears on is trying to find damp patches around the circuit, because it's going to dry. It's stopped raining. They've all got wet tyres on. The wet tyres are going to overheat in 15 laps unless we get more rain. And so you might need to try and find some wet patches to try and keep the tyres cool so they don't overheat and malfunction. But at the head of the field on a pair of rails is Ville Verlainen. Second place and third, though, are wheel to wheel as they go across the start-finish line, the inside line into turn 1 with Konstantin Scholl. Kevin Ludi goes out wide. They both twitch under braking. The carts struggle to turn in. They understeer, slipping and sliding again out of turn 2. One behind them goes all the way over on the grass and loses a place or 2. And that, I'm afraid, is Gerard Sebriano-Risa. So he's dropped out of the top 6 with that. Konstantin Scholl doing a good job to fend off Kevin Ludi, and Giannis Slavinsky is with them now. Moransky is up to 5th place in kart 622 and has just set the fastest first sector of anybody.
He's doing a Cristobal Garcia, isn't he? Mixing it with the front runners within the DD2 class, the main class itself. So watch out for Moransky to see how he gets on. He's right on the tail now of our 4th place man, which is Davina Slavinsky. Not quite found a way through yet. And all of those have got to be wary of Ed Brand, who's now up into 7th position. So Ed now makes that possibly 6th. He tries to run side by side on towards the back straight, but he can't quite get the nose tucked down the inside line there. But still good progress being made by Ed. Another move nearly made there behind, which was Sam Schmeltz trying to get past Martin Pearce as well, but couldn't quite achieve that one. But what a lead it is for this man who goes through, Ville Verlainen, and he's now got it up to possibly 3 seconds, 3.5, and it's going to be side by side for second place in towards the first corner. Kevin Ludi gets himself back ahead of Konstantin Scholl. We haven't said this weekend, but round the outside may be the place to be now, because of course there's more grip being laid down by the rubber that's been left across the course of the weekend. So outside run through turn 1 is where you need to be as a move comes from 4th to 3rd there. Down the inside goes Slavinsky. He now deposits Konstantin Scholl back into 4th, and Ed Brand is right with him as well. Finds himself with inside the top 6 now, looking racy, doing some good lap times. But Ville Verlainen, what a race this is turning into. The wet conditions have completely changed this race.
Come on, chaps, keep up, he's saying. Where are you all? I'm 3.5 seconds clear. I've already done a few laps. Give me something to do. He's off like a bullet. Kevin Ludi's into 2nd place. He's now starting to edge away from the pack. So Slavinsky up to 3rd, Scholl in 4th place. Moransky having a brilliant drive in 5th. And another Master going well is Martin Pearce in 6th place. Ed Brand's up to 7th. And then it's Sebriano-Risa in 8th place. Sam Smelt and Christoph Adams in the top 10 as well. So Christoph Adams, another Masters driver who does go well in these conditions, is in 10th place. Leader goes through, 69.6, 69.2 for Kevin Ludi. He's catching him up already, 0.4 of a second quicker on that lap. So he's miles behind, but Kevin Ludi is starting to close the gap. There's action further back as well. So 3rd is still Slavinsky. 4th place coming through. Is that Ed Brand? 4th, yes. Ed Brand's up to 4th. He squeezed through a couple of carts going through turn 1. And he's like an Exocet missile now. What's he doing? Well, lap times don't reflect how quick he is yet, but he's just done the fastest first sector of anybody in the race, and he's got a clear track in front of him. So the cream is rising back to the top, Matt.
Certainly is indeed. Watch out for Ed Brand. It's almost like watching a drifting championship now, because everyone is literally side by side, sideways through the corner. A great scrap that continues to go on for 5th place for now. The likes of Moransky, Martin Pearce, Sam Smelt and Konstantin Scholl all find themselves in there. And again, corner by corner, that seems to change. Sam Smelt now finds himself up into 6th place by the looks of it. Just ahead of them on the road is going to be Moransky, but Ed Brand is really on a charge. Quickest of anyone in Sector 1, as Chris said. Quickest of anyone in Sector 2. Can he get the quickest lap of this race? Through he comes this time. What can he do in terms of a time? Yes, he does. A 68.228 down towards the first corner. 2nd and 3rd place are set to change because Davina Slavinsky, more progress being made, and he goes through once again, slides the car ahead of Kevin Ludi and finds himself now up into what's going to be second position. They were closing the gap on the leader and have continued to do so, down to now less than 2.9 seconds. So this is going to be a race and a half to look forward to in the last few laps of this one. Only a third race distance has been completed. It's still, by the way, Billy Valanen that leads. Second now is, of course, Davina Slavinsky. Third place for Kevin Ludi, and Ed Brand, the quickest man on the track. As we said, 68.2 was his lap time a lap ago.
Well, what a move that was from Giannis Slavinsky. This is his first year, his first big European race in DD2. Kevin Ludi's been driving the things for years. He's not only gone past him, he's starting to leave him behind. Slavinsky is driving really well here. So it looked like Kevin Ludi might start to eat into the advantage of Valainen. And then he's had to deal with Slavinsky. So that's good news for the Finn up front because he'll keep quite a big advantage here. Sliding, as you say, four-wheel drifting out of the chicane. They come. Kevin Ludi might be struggling to hold onto a podium here. His old adversary, Ed Brand, is on his case. Looks to the inside. No, doesn't go through yet. But Ed Brand's got to be the quickest man out there, hasn't he? He's absolutely flying. Yes, 67.9. He's a second a lap quicker than most of them around him. More than that around the drivers in 5th and 6th place. So he is mint at the moment, Ed Brand, and gunning along nicely. Now, yesterday in the third heat, he just sat behind Kevin Ludi for the whole race because he knew even if he won, there would still be first and second on the grid. There was no point risking anything. Ed's going to go for it now. He gets a chance. He's going to go for it. He's an attacking driver, and he is flying. 4th place he's not interested in. Top 3 would be all right. He wants to win the race, and he's still got a chance. Ville Valainen's 2.5 seconds clear still, 2.6 seconds clear. If Ed Brand can get through the traffic pretty quickly, contact behind, then he might catch the race leader. There was a bit of jostling coming out of turn 7. One cart went over the back of another. They both went on the grass, but they've both survived. I think the pole sitter might have been one of them as well, as Brand goes through to 3rd place into the chicane. Good move. Kevin Ludi again gives him the room. Kevin now gets a tow. Touches the rear bumper of Ed Brand, but the Brit stays in front under braking on the way into the right-hander. Just about Matt slows the cart down in time. Yeah, I think that was kind of a mistake down through the penultimate corner. Just too much curb being taken by Kevin Ludi. A great run from Ed Brand, picked up that tow and was on him like a rash through that final corner. And Ed Brand finds himself up into 3rd place. Can he go any higher? Well, straight away he's onto the back of Davina Slavinsky. They work their way through the left-hander at turns 4 and 5. What can he do on this lap? Can he get any closer to Dazinas? Yes, he can. A great line being taken from Ed. Just makes him slightly slow on the exit of the corner, though, so the gap opens itself out once more. Just to look at the gap at the front, 1st to 2nd stayed roughly about the same, only a 10th or so different. It's at 2.5 seconds for now between Valainen and Davina Slavinsky. There's been more contact down at turn number 4 and 5, just to let you know. Kart 633 is one of them. Maxim Shaposhnikov is unfortunately now out of the race by the looks of it. He stamps out the kart, and that's going to be one that takes no further part within this DD2 final here in Spain. Meantime, 2nd, 3rd, through they come. They're joined together. 4th and 5th are also together as well. Kevin Ludi and Moransky, who is our Masters leader, of course. He's now trying to get himself up into 4th place past Kevin Ludi. What can he do on this lap? He brings the gap down to 0.3 of a second, and he's just done his quickest lap of the race, 67.859. So this is getting very close, and those two, in fact, are catching those two ahead. So 2nd through to 5th. And there goes the move for Moransky by the looks of it. In fact, it's a retaliation from Kevin Ludi. So Moransky had already done it in the run through turn 2. And Moransky now has to once again let Kevin Ludi back through. But great scrap for 2nd and a great scrap for 4th as well, Chris. Pole sitter Oriol Damo Caballero is having a horrid race. He's down in 16th place and struggling like crazy to get any kind of grip. So yeah, I think he was the one I spotted bumping and boring and going on the grass a lap ago. Side by side again for 4th place. Ed Brand trying to be in 2nd place, going for a move here. And I think he might have done it on Giannis Slavinsky and got himself into 2nd place. That's exactly when he needed to do it as well, because Valainen has started to pull away again. 2.4 seconds at the start of the lap. Valainen makes his way through the chicane, clumps the curbs. Ed Brand comes through in pursuit now. And Giannis Slavinsky's not certain of a podium here because the others are catching up as well. Namely the 622 kart of Moransky, which is up to 4th and flying, as you say. Ooh, twitchy from Ed Brand on the way through the first corner, but he holds on to it. Yeah, he lost 0.8 of a second in that battle, so he needed to get through. He's 3.3 seconds down on Valainen. Through the first sector, he loses time as well as he slipped and slid his way through. We didn't look at the tyres further back, but I'm pretty sure Ed's on wet tyres as well. just wait to see, Matt, if anybody gambled and if somebody suddenly starts flying in the back half of the race here, because it is starting to get a few dry patches, isn't it?
Yeah, it won't take too long for them to come through. As soon as you see that dry line on track, that's when you know those who took the gamble to move onto those slick tyres. A bit of change there for third and fourth place, because that time round, our Masters leader again made up another position. Moransky goes through, now finds himself ahead of Davina Slavinsky. So onto the podium is going to be one of our Masters drivers for now. We thought it would be Cristobal Garcia, who in fact is a little bit lower down. In fact, outside the top 10, 13th place for him. He's fourth in class, but what a run this has been in wet conditions for Moransky. He's now up into third place. Leader goes through, Vili Valainen, on to now the 11th lap. 2.5 seconds, the gap comes down by a second that time, as Ed Brand now records the quickest lap of the race, 67.153. This is definitely not done between the top two. He needs to get his head down, he needs to focus, no mistakes, and possibly Ed Brand, after a disastrous pre-final in his terms, down in 13th of course to start this race. He's now back up into second, but could he be the winner? We'll find out shortly.
Take yourselves back to the first lap of the pre-final. Ed Brand was in the tyres. He had to wait for the marshals to get the tyre barrier out of the way. He was plumb last. He was a quarter of a lap behind the leaders. Fast forward, here he is going for the lead of the race in the final. Look at that for a move on the way into turn number 7. So another great move from the Russian driver Moransky to get his third place back from Dianis Slavinsky. Kevin Ludi is paying a watching brief from just behind in 5th place. Right, sector time for Ed Brand was mega in the second sector. He set the fastest middle sector of anybody in the race, and he was 6/10 quicker in that sector alone than Vili Valainen, who is struggling now with the tyres as he comes out through the chicane. Ed Brand's going to be quicker again on this lap. Another personal best and fastest sector of anybody. The gap has halved. It's down to 1.5 seconds. Ed Brand is on a charge here. A 66.5, a 67.4 for the leader. Took 1.1 seconds out of him on that lap alone, and it's going to continue, and he's still got 3 laps plus the rest of this one to catch up, Matt.
Yeah, this is game on then for Ed Brand. He's working his way closer and closer to the lead of that of Vili Valainen. Still a great scrap going on for 4th and 5th. Kevin Ludi gets himself back down the inside of Dianis Slavinsky, puts his hand on his helmet to say, sorry, I'm on my way now, and hopefully you can come with me and try and catch our 3rd place man, which is our Masters leader still, which is Moransky, doing a superb job here in Spain on finals day. He's not quite going to catch the top 2 by the looks of it, but still, Ed Brand is on a charge. Can he do another quick lap? Sector 2, again, is a personal best for him, around about 0.2 of a second quicker than that of Valainen. But look at that, Moransky, our Masters leader, has done the quickest of anyone in Sector 2. So what a drive from him. But what has Ed Brand done this time? Through the final corner he comes. The gap is surely less than a second. It is by 0.003 of a second, 0.997. 65.0 was his time, 1.6 seconds quicker than Valainen. This, again, as we said, is going to be a cracking end to the DD2s.
Kevin Ludi just about holds on to 4th place, which he got on the previous lap. But at turn 1, Slavinsky was all over him, but Ludi stayed in front. The Swiss driver still 4th, but not looking like he's going to be on the podium here. Meanwhile, the top 2 are in the same shot as each other now, Valainen and Brand. There is Ed Brand, number 688. He's reeling you in, Vili Valainen, and there's not much you can do about it because he's so much quicker. It's just whether you can block and defend for long enough to see the checkered flag through. But Valainen looked like he was going to walk it, didn't he, at the start of the race? And Ed Brand has carved his way through from 14th on the grid, and he is just quicker everywhere, every corner, every bit of braking. The tyres are working better. He's got the better setup, and he's driving, of course, beautifully. And he's going to be within striking distance soon as they break for the chicane. And a rough and tumble again over the curbs for the race leader. Much, much smoother for Ed Brand. He's within 2 kart lengths. He's within 1 kart length. He's on the bumper of the race leader. He thinks about it into turn 1, but waits because he's still, remarkably, got a couple of laps in which to pick his moment here. What about into the left-hander at turn 3? Not quite. Vili Valainen, but it's going to be hard work, isn't it, to keep Ed Brand behind him for another 2 laps in this race, Matt?
Yep, don't try anything too rash. There he goes, down the inside line. Perfectly done, as always, by Ed Brand. He's brought the gap down by over 3 seconds within this race, and now he's gone for the lead. He's got it. Very nicely done, as we said, down the inside line of Vili Valainen. And look at that, straight away, he opens up the gap. This is what we're used to from Ed Brand. It was a slightly off year in 2015. cars, but it looks like now Ed Brand is back to his full potential and a great start to the season. This could be if he gets the win. He's got a lap or so to go still as he works his way onto the back stretch. There's a slight spin there in the middle of the pack. Maybe Christoph Adams. Now that'd be a little bit lower down for Christoph. So someone had a spin back on his way.
It was the 616 car, Christian Davis.
So off he goes once again, but Ed Brand has done what he needed to do. He's now going to start his last lap of the race. He'll be, I'm sure, very chuffed with this one, Chris.
Absolutely. Well, it took him 5 years between pole positions. He finally got a pole position for the first time since 2011 at the start of the weekend. He doesn't need them, does he? Just stick him further back on the grid, he can still win. What a drive it's been. I remember a couple of years ago at the International Open, he came from last and got himself up onto the podium. He is just a proper racing driver, isn't he? What a drive it's been. Villevalainen has played his part, but there's nothing he can do about Ed Brand. He's just got that thing working beautifully. Moranski's driven exquisitely as well. He's going to win the Masters. He's going to get on the overall podium. And Kevin Ludi looks like he's going to hang on to fourth place. We're on the last lap of the race then. Ed Brand, cool as you like, sat in an armchair, negotiates another corner. He hasn't slipped, he hasn't slid, he hasn't made a mistake, he hasn't clattered the curbs. He's been on a pair of rails, and it's that smooth, silky style that is going to see him win his first race of the season, in his first full season as a DD2 driver, from 14th on the grid. A famous win for Ed Brand as he takes the checkered flag and wins the Winter Cup here in DD2. Second place to Villevalainen, and third place in the Masters victory goes to the Russian driver Slawomir Moransky. Matt, that was brilliant.
It certainly was indeed. We have to applaud Ed Brand for the drive of his life by the looks of it. He worked his way through, as we said, from 13th on that final grid. He got himself to the lead. He had to bring that gap down by over 3 seconds. That is a well-deserved win in his career for Ed Brand. He'll give the congratulations to Villevalainen, who pulls alongside him as they work their way down on this slowing down lap. Just to bring you through the final results, Ed Brand, your winner from Villevalainen. Third place then for our Masters winner on the podium overall. What a ride and what a drive there from Slawomir Moransky. Fourth place, we thought he'd do well in the wet, not quite as well as we'd expected. But Kevin Ludi comes through in what will be fourth place. Fifth place then goes to 621, which is Gerard Sebrin Aritzia. And then behind that, we've got the likes of Davina Slavinsky, who dropped down towards the end. Sam Schmelt was then in seventh place. He made up 9 positions within that race. And of course, those around him also made up quite a few positions as well. Eighth place went the way of 616, which was the kart, again, the man from Spain, which was Christian Davies. 11 places gained within that race. Ninth place, coming up 9 positions, was Jules Kazin, and then 10th place goes the way of Konstantin Scholl, another man who found himself a little bit lower down in the field compared to the rest. And then just outside the top 10 was 11th place man Philip Sewer. He came from 21st on the grid up into